What's up, not sorry gang? How's it going? Happy Friday. My cat cannot make a decision. Please sit, Jasmine. You've done this 8 billion times. Here we go, sweetie pie. Thanks for joining us today. Again, if you are new here, I'm your favorite tough love bestie, here to give it to you straight because we all need friends like that in our lives. So let's take a sip of wine because thank fucking God it's fucking Friday. I cannot tell you the kind of past couple of weeks I've had, like seriously. Let's just say there were tears involved. So this is not a pity party, although I wouldn't complain. Let's dive in. Have you ever been ghosted or been the ghostee? You can't tell me that you've never ghosted someone. I won't accept it. Seriously. I asked the Not Sorry Gang if they've ghosted before or have been the ghostie, and here are some of their responses. Let's go. This one's sassy batch. Cute. My close friend does this for everyone she loses interest in. She says it's easier for her and that, quote, no answer is an answer. In my opinion, it's shitty, but she doesn't get upset when guys ghost her. So at least she's not a hypocrite. Amen. I would be friends with this girl because it's like, I live by that rule of don't treat others the way you don't want to be treated. You know, like golden rule, right? So if you're going to do it, you got to be okay with it being done to you. And sometimes you figure that out like when it happens, and that's okay. It's a learning process, but hey, I respect that. Speaking of respect, the next one says, when they don't respect boundaries, it's always a turnoff and an automatic ghost. It says a lot about a person. Yeah, 100%. Like I always say, believe them when they show you their true colors or like who they really are. You tend to like make a lot of exceptions, you know, fresh in the dating scene or freshly talking to someone because I know I was desperate a lot, and I think a lot of women are. It's not desperate sounds like a mean dig, but that's not how I mean it. It's just, you know, we all want love. We all crave connection and all of that. So yeah, I really do believe love is blind, and I've never seen that show. Next would be, they wouldn't get the hint that I was no longer interested, even after saying, quote, we should just be friends. I've never said that to a guy. I am not interested in being friends with someone that I had even some romantic possibility with. Every time except one exception, never talked to an ex. I've never talked to an ex. Actually, there's 2 exceptions. God, now I'm a hypocrite. One of the exceptions was we broke up, and I was still healing, and he had started just talking to someone before we broke up, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get my revenge, if you know what that means. And another one was he couldn't just let this go, man. He couldn't. The shit's too good over here. And we broke up, and we didn't talk for a long time because I was a really shitty person back then, and he should have never reached back out. But I was madly in love with him for a long time. And when he just like texted me out of the blue, I was like, oh my God. We never officially dated again, but it was also long distance, and I was not going to do that. But I, more than once told him, hey, I'd move there. I'll move. I got nothing here tying me down, and always kind of avoided that. But whenever he would come to Nashville, we'd hang out and stuff like that. So we never were official again, but those were the only 2 exceptions when it was like, but other than that, and I've dated a lot, like, I'm just not interested in being friends with people I've dated. Like, and honestly, like, those 2 exceptions they don't even meet that criteria because we weren't just friends. Like, it wasn't platonic, if you know what I mean. So, okay, I'm not a hypocrite. Got it. I am so fidgety today. Like, I'm telling you, the most anxiety I have had in my entire life these past like 2 weeks. So I've been like kind of bouncing off the walls, like really sad and like just really poor me. And I'm finally on the up and up. Work's been really shit, and like it's really hard to stay positive and be like, better things are coming, when it just keeps getting like worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. All right, that's enough of that. Okay, let's see what's next. I ghosted someone because on the second date he confessed he tried to smother his then wife with a pillow. I wasn't going to say, quote, you confirmed you're an abuser on the second date. I wanted him not to learn the lesson, and hopefully to tell all the other women in the future early on so they could get the fuck out before they also become victims. Oh my gosh. I would have done the exact same thing. I'd be like, oh yeah, totally cool. Like, it's not a big deal that you're telling me this much information on our second date. I really appreciate your openness, and I just love how open and honest you are. That's just amazing. Like, do that. 100% do that, and then like move towns, move across the country. First of all, he's an idiot. He will get caught if he's like that. Criminals are so stupid. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, next, there's a couple more. I don't know how many of these I'm going to read. There was a lot of good responses. Let's see. Something similar. The few times where I told the guy I was speaking with that I don't feel like we're on the same page / not vibing with him, they've taken it as an opportunity to talk down to me, saying absolute spiteful shit that was totally unnecessary. It's been easier to ghost, especially when we can't tell whose pea-sized ego that's about to get hurt. I've had that happen before. Why are people so like hard? Why can't they just deal with rejection? It's a part of life. Like, the level of tolerance that most men, okay, maybe not, that's not how I mean it. I think men, the majority of men, what am I trying to say here? I'm saying that men take rejection a lot harder than women do, if we're in a general consensus. I'm not saying that the majority of all men, although that might be an accurate statement. I don't have the facts and figures, but I think if you were to choose if a man can take rejection or if a woman can take rejection, who can take it easier? It would be a woman. Like, so I've had that happen before, where it's just like a super innocent exchange. I'm like, oh no, I'm not interested, or I'm dating someone, and they just flip the script. Like, well, you are just a dime a dozen, just a girl with big tits, and like that's easy to find. I'm like, okay, well, go find it. And sure, there's plenty of women that want you. Next is Miss Nanny. That's her little username. If the person isn't putting in much effort, doesn't seem that interested, and doesn't double text after the most recent communication, and doesn't double text? I don't know what double text means after the most recent communication. I see where you're going with that. It's like, if it's really hard to carry the conversation, if it's like, bro, this texting convo is dry and it's just dragging along, I'm not interested, especially if we haven't met yet and that's how dull you're gonna be before I even meet you. Absolutely not. Someone replied to that comment. They go, yeah, I've given up after being the only one to put in effort into a conversation. I don't even know if it's ghosting. It's just giving up on doing all the work. That's the better way to put it. It's not ghosting. It's just, yeah, I'm going to wait. See if you're a better communicator or something like that. Mary says, I ghost men when they feel they're entitled to sexual conversations, even after I've turned it down once. That is, all these are just like beyond accurate, right? We've all experienced all of these at some point in our lives where it's like, yeah, you can really tell when they're trying to like just do a sexting conversation. And there was a time in my life where I was like, hell yeah, let's go. I'm that girl. I'm cool. So down to clown. And I was such an idiot. And I was part of the problem, ladies. And I apologize for that, for being part of the problem and fueling that fire. Because hashtag Scorpio. Yeah, if that tells you anything, LOL. I'm going to take a sip. But it does get old really fast. Like, I wasn't like that for long, where it's just like, I actually kind of want to talk to you. I don't want to send a tit pic or anything else like that. It's like, it literally got so exhausting, where I'm like saying all these things, or honestly, if a guy was like trying to do that and I was just so desperate for attention, I would copy and paste something I said to a different dude with another guy, and it's like, and I got almost caught one time, like, oh, I don't think that was meant for me. I'm like, yes, it was. Got red-handed on that one. Also, can you see my right hand, if you're watching on YouTube? I'm missing like 2 nails. A third one's about to go. I look super raggedy. Plus, this self-tanner on my hands looks awful. I'll get better at it. I'm going to the beach in June, so I'll be an expert by then, hopefully. All right, just going to read 2 more, and then we'll move on. Kind of on the same lines. Shannon says, she goes, I've run into an issue recently where I might be a little bit flirty or cheeky, and it immediately devolves into sexting. So now I'm left with either maybe getting a hookup out of it or just dropping the conversation because there's no getting a legitimate date out of it now. Ooh. Yeah, that's actually a good, like, tell, if you will, of, like, they want to jump into that. Like, it's so easy to figure men out. If you take a step back and just kind of look at it, you're like, yeah, I'm not getting a date out of this. Do I just want to hook up? Like, if you want to do a little hookup, like, whatever. Such an easy tell. That's so funny. Oh, wait, no, that was the last one. Okay, so I want to hear from you guys. When is ghosting actually not okay? But first, I want to tell you my worst offense. Pause for the ad. Just kidding. It's just taking a sip of wine. Yeah, I'm going to tell you my worst offense. I want to hear your worst offenses too, so I can feel better about myself. Please. All right. So several years ago, before Mark, obviously, I was seeing this guy and we matched on Facebook dating, which I actually kind of liked Facebook dating. It was a little more simpler, a little more, I don't know why. I just liked Facebook dating at the time. And matched with a guy, and like at the beginning, we were both super clear with each other. Like, we're not in it for the long haul. Like, I'm not serious. I'm seeing other people. Like, he actually brought the conversation up first. And usually I'm the person who was used to being like, this is not a serious thing for me. I'm dating around. I don't want anything serious right now. Because it was after my last serious relationship, and I was like, I'm staying single. Like, I made that commitment to myself. You remember I've said that before. So he brought it up first that he was seeing these other girls, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, I'm doing the same thing. And so I was like, oh yeah, no, seriously, like, I'm not trying to be the cool girl. Like, I literally am seeing other people. And it was right around, well, no, we had been seeing each other for a couple months, just on and off, like, go on dates, have some fun, whatever. And he would talk about, like, his other, like, girls. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want to hear that. Like, I'm cool with it. Do whatever the F you want. I'm just not interested in hearing more about it. Like, thanks. And he actually ghosted me for, 2 or so months? Something like that. It was a significant amount of time, and I was like, I mean, it could have told me that maybe he found somebody or just was over it, like, whatever. I'm not gonna, like, get too upset about it. And so I moved on with my life. Then he texts me out of the blue, like, oh, hey, how have you been? I'm like, This guy thinks that he can just come out of nowhere. We went on a date that night. I'm such a fucking sucker sometimes. Like, I love going out on dates. Like, you can't blame me. Like, I really do love going out on dates. I love getting dressed up. Every girl loves a little attention and some drinks. Like, I just loved dating around. And so we hung out, and he had told me that a really close friend of his, like, it wasn't family, but might as well have been, had died, and he just took it really hard, and, you know, the whole thing. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, it's definitely understandable. Did that, like, hermit moment for him and whatnot. So we started hanging out again, right? Kind of the same as before. Not too much longer later, I had met Mark. Right? No, it had been a while later. I think there was no, like, bad overlap, but I had met Mark when I was, like, hanging out with this guy, like, and it was still the same situation, right? Where it was like, I'm not interested in long term. We're seeing other people. Like, it was that same understanding with each other. And then Mark and I start hanging out. Don't worry, he knows this. He knows the story. And we start hanging out, and Mark says the same thing. And even though I was like, I see a future with this guy, I was still okay with, like, it being casual at first. Like, no commitments. We don't need any titles right now. I was genuinely okay with that. But Mark had, like, brought it up, like, 3 times. Like, I don't need anything serious right now because I come on, like, really strong and I'm super awesome. Like, he got scared and just wanted to pump the brakes a little bit because he loved me so much. Anyway, so, yeah, I'm both in this understanding, same, like, situation, okay? This other guy A, let's call him, I was telling him about my car breaking down or my tire or something like that. It was just a hassle to deal with. And I was like, over it, but it's fixed now. And he's like, why don't you call me when you need help with stuff like that? I'm like, oh, we don't have that going on. Like, that's not our thing. Then he looks at me, he goes, well, do you want it to be? Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I'm like, oh no. And we were, like, headed back to his house to hang out for the night and watch movies and have some dinner. And I'm like, oh no. I didn't want to say no outright, but my response was like, oh, I was not expecting that. And I was kind of lying, but also telling the truth, where I was like, I've never thought about us long term because of what we established at the beginning, and it stayed that way. Like, I just hadn't thought into the future, so I really don't know. And he's like, that's fine, let's just hang out and blah, blah, blah. And, like, later that night, he kind of, like, hinted at it again. And he's like, you can say no if you want. Like, it's okay. And then I, like, repeated myself. I felt so bad. And I repeated myself. But this, like, really made me realize, I'm, like, thinking about Mark, like, this guy needs to freaking step it up. Like, I'm not going to wait forever on this guy. Although I probably would have. Well, no. In my heart, I would have, but I definitely would not have. But it really made me realize, I was like, Mark's my guy. Like, Mark is my man. And so we had hung out the rest of that night, and I go home, and then it just kind of tapers off after that. Like, he tries texting me, tries staying connected with me, and I, like, tapered it off. And, like, that's my worst offense. Long story short, that's that. And that's the worst thing to do. I was such a freaking coward, and I couldn't have just said no. As direct of a person that I am, and I encourage other people to be, when you're in those moments of, like, you're about to get hardcore rejected right now, and no one wants to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Like, that's so sad, and, like, I don't want to make anyone feel that way, so, like, I took the cowardly way out, and I don't recommend. So, sip. All that to say is that is the absolute one of the worst ways to ghost someone. Have you seen, I was going to do a reaction video. I didn't set it up though. Of those TikToks where it's just like, the caption is, guys, the day before they ghost you, and it's just like, I love you, I can't wait for you to meet my mom, and like staring at her ring finger and just being like, you're so beautiful, and like and then they ghost them the next day. Like, accuracy. But yeah, don't take any notes from me, ladies. If you're gonna ghost someone, do it real early on, because you got no commitments, you got no understanding of each other, you haven't had that conversation even after the first date. I think if you have a first date and you can just be like, so much easier to be direct, be like, I'm not feeling it, dog, then you move on, or feel it out. If you don't even want to send that text, like I think that's okay. You can, and it is a lot easier to send those texts during those moments of it being super early on in the relationship. But and I've done that before. Like, I've done it the right way before, even after like the first couple of dates where we've had that conversation. It was just like, yeah, I just think, I'm not, I used to feel like we're better as friends. I'm like, I'm not going to be friends with you. Like, if I'm not romantically interested in you, I'm not interested in you in like a friendship. Like, my mind just works that way. Even with the two guys at the beginning of this conversation, I can't have them in my life now because like I don't want to be platonic. That's okay, that sounds really bad. Like, if they walk in my life, I'll just be like, oh, hey, yeah, don't ever talk to me again, because we had more than just a platonic relationship, and that's just inappropriate. And like, even if I was okay, here we go. Even if I was single, and like dating them is like 100% out of the possibilities, I'm not going to be friends with you. Like, if I'm single, I can't do what I want, then I'm not going to be just friends. Fuck that. No. Does that make sense? Or am I digging myself a friggin' hole? Yeah, so I want to know your ghosting stories, like, especially if they're like kind of crazy. Oh, my phone, it paused on me. But I definitely want to know your thoughts on it all. And I forgot to prepare a buzzkill segment, but in lieu of the buzzkill segment, you know what? No, I figured it out. You know what the fucking buzzkill is? My freaking 9 to 5. Yeah, it's time for the buzzkill segment. If you don't know what that is, it is where I talk about something that just totally ruined the vibe, right? One buzzkill was not having open bar seating. Like, are you joking? It was a total vibe killer. And it's my chance to like bitch about something. And you know what I need to bitch about? I need to bitch about my job. It has made me cry one too many times the past like 2.5 weeks, and it's exhausting. Absolutely exhausting. And it also makes me so frustrated because my job, like, the work is busier, like I'm busier, but it keeps getting worse. And it also is making me so exhausted that I can't focus on this, my podcast that I love, and it's something that brings me joy and happiness. But yet it's like, I don't have the mental energy or capacity to like put work into it like I want to. So hopefully that's changing. Be a little more disciplined about it too is a thing. And that's what's been frustrating, is like, I can't, like, when it's something that you're super passionate about or that you have these big goals for, like, why am I procrastinating? Why am I slacking on this or that, or not posting every single day, multiple times a day? Like, if it's truly your dream, then why aren't you doing what it takes, type of thing? And so that's frustrating. And I just have been trying my best to give myself a lot of grace the past like several days and just being like, you know what, like, still, you're not quitting, you're not giving up, so just do what you need to do. If you need to take some time, if you need to pump the brakes a little bit, and whatever keeps you going. Because if I were to put so much pressure on myself to like post and upload and record all the time, then that I think would do a certain type of burnout, so I want to do it at a pace that keeps me going, even if it's not at the pace that I desire and I think will be more effective, as long as it's at a pace, as long as it's consistent, right? This is really helpful, Caitlin. Thank you. I'm giving myself a little pep talk. I needed this. But yeah, y'all, that is the podcast. Feel free to DM me anything and everything. The email is below, or if you're watching on TikTok, you can DM me. Yeah. Oh no, you can email me or DM me on TikTok. Don't do Instagram. I'm doing it just because I don't want to get into it. But yeah, if you could take a couple of seconds to also rate and review, that helps tremendously. It's those teeny tiny little things that just over time make a huge difference. And also recommend, babes. Yeah, girl, do that referral. I'll send you a bottle of wine. Someday, somehow, I will, I promise. But that is the podcast, y'all. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again for all your support. I genuinely, truly appreciate it. And it just makes my heart gleam with joy when I see my YouTube subscribers go up, even little by little, or my downloads go up little by little. It just keeps getting better, even if it's at a minuscule amount. But I love and appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, peace out. Bye.